The answer to prayer. A few days after Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, he traveled with his apostles back to their base camp at Pella. They departed secretly so they could travel in a closed group. On the way, Jesus taught his 10 accompanying apostles. Their conversation turned to the subject of prayer, and the apostles asked Jesus about the relationship between prayer and answered prayers. Jesus' answers can be summarized as follows. Prayer is an expression of the finite consciousness attempting to approach the infinite. Every prayer that is offered comes from an imperfect person and is addressed to a perfect being. The answer to an imperfect prayer is determined by the vision of the infinite. There can never be a continuous material sequence of answers to prayer because the reception of the answer is entirely spiritual. When a prayer seems to go unanswered, the delay often signifies a better answer or is postponed for a certain good reason. No sincere prayer remains unheard, except when the spiritual world, with its higher viewpoint, devises a better answer, an answer that serves the general interest of humanity, and which often is not recognized by the consciousness of the praying individual. The prayer of a God-knowing person can be so distorted by ignorance and so deformed by superstition that the answer to it would be highly undesirable. In this case, the intervening spiritual beings must translate such a prayer so that when the answer comes, the person who made the request does not recognize it at all as the answer to their prayer. All true prayers are addressed to spiritual beings. And such prayers are answered in spiritual terms. Spiritual beings cannot grant material responses. Material beings can only pray effectively when they pray in the Spirit. You cannot expect your prayer to be answered unless it is born of the Spirit and nurtured by faith. Your sincere faith includes granting those who hear your prayers the full right to respond to your petitions. The child is always within its rights when it takes the liberty to ask its father for something. The father, in turn, always adheres to his parental obligations to the immature child, and sometimes his greater wisdom commands him to delay or modify the answer to the prayer. Do not hesitate to offer the prayers of your spiritual desires. Do not doubt that your pleas will be heard. This hearing will be kept as credit for you until you hear or in the hereafter reach the spiritual levels of cosmic achievements. And it will be possible for you to receive and understand the long-prepared answers to your earlier but untimely requests. All prayers born of the Spirit are certainly answered. Ask, and you will receive. But you must remember that here on earth, you are limited by the dimensions of time and space. Therefore, it is wise to realize that this time-space factor also plays a role in how you understand the spiritual experience of your personal reception of the answers.